Hi, I'm Joyce Lim, a professional in accounting and finance with more than 25 years experience in the field. And first, through my work as an auditor in a multinational accounting firm and through our company's outsourced accounting services, I'm exposed to various businesses in multitudes of industries. I'm based in Southeast Asia, and currently our business focus on supporting micro, small and medium-sized enterprises that are driving the economic growth in the region. About 7 years ago, our business focus shifted towards helping businesses grow into a financially sound social enterprise that are sustainable, as we believe that giving back to society should be in every businesses. So today's topic is really on the financial model for social enterprises, and I'm going to share one of the financial model, or can say the financial model that we use for our own business as well as for our clients. So when I was introduced to this concept of social enterprise, it was very much later in my career. When I first started, I was like any other ordinary accountant. We just want to have a stable 9 to 5 job, have a family, maybe mortgages to pay, and live life happily and things like that. But when I met my mentor towards later part in my career, I realized that I can do much more. He gave me an idea, or he opened my eyes to, or my mind to the possibility out there, and so began my journey to actually turn my own business into a social enterprise. So this is something which may not be well known out there, but this concept that I hope you can see why is it should be in that way that we are doing it now. Okay, so when I started my business, it was towards also more profit oriented, because at that time most of our companies are, we want to make money for ourselves and for to enable us to live the life that we want. So we focus on outsourced accounting work, and then he got me to actually have the reserves for myself as well as the business to last me maybe about 3 years. For myself personally, 3 years. For the business, it was just 1 to 2 years like that. And then he introduced this concept of social enterprise. That is something in between an NGO that focus on giving all back to the society, and also compared to a profit making company that is usually viewed as just focusing on business. Social enterprise model that we talked about is the one that has both the profit and a social element in the business, where sustainability is actually finding the right balance between the two. Okay, so allow me to share with you what is the model that we are talking about. And from the slide, you can see that a social enterprise can be more towards profit or more towards NGO kind of model. Okay, you can see that sometimes you can get more towards profit, because at that time you really need the profit to actually sustain your company's growth, so sustain the operation and things like that. But as the business grow, you can actually move the proportion for the social enterprise to a little bit more towards, geared towards more the NGO. So if you give it a moment to think, you would see that it actually makes more sense. As your money grows, as your business grow, more should be given back to the society, because that's where your business actually comes from. Okay, so when we talk about when I present this model to some of my clients, and they say, but when do I start shifting? When do I know that I have sufficient for my operation and things like that? So that's where we introduce something we call the financial reserves meter, where it is give you an indication or a benchmark for you to actually follow if you don't have anything else to follow. Okay, so based on that financial reserve meter, you can see that a organization will actually start with setting their first goal to have a operational reserve for maybe about 1 to 2 years. Okay, and then there will become a time when the business will want to grow, and that's where you need more reserve, more funds for you to actually invest in maybe people, maybe equipment, or maybe certain software, or certain solutions that you need to actually grow your business. So based on that meter, the second part of it will be, after you have your operation, you will also have your expansion or growth funds. And then you may come to a point where is actually sufficient, and then you can actually park a bit more towards your social causes. But even at the start, in this part, you should actually include a certain portion of the social cost funding in it, even the operation side, because it actually starts you off having a habit of contribution. Because we realize that a lot of people, even myself, when I first started, it was not easy. There's a lot of fear, actually, a fear of that I don't have enough. If I contribute to the social cause, would I have enough for myself, for my business, and for my expansion? So by starting off with a small amount, we actually build a certain habit. So as my business grow and the time comes, like my mentor will say, hey, look, your business are growing, you're doing much better now, would you like to contribute more? And that's when I realized that with the habitual pattern of me contributing, it is much easier for me to actually start putting in much more, because I see the cause. I see why I should put more. Especially when I first start, a lot of people think that, you do a social cause thing, or you support a social cause, it's all about funding, about putting in your money. But for me, it started off with something simpler, or maybe some would say a little bit more difficult, is actually spending your time and sharing your experiences in the things that you are passionate about. I am not one who has something that I start off being passionate about, but I was introduced to this cause of supporting the young, getting them to do better in life, inspiring them, and maybe perhaps sharing some knowledge and experience. For me, because my core is on finance, I actually share a little bit more on finance with them. So I am in that space of providing the information, and more of, how do I say, sharing my own knowledge and experience, and hopefully it can inspire them to do better in life and things like that. So it doesn't start with big amount of money. It starts with me giving my time, my experiences, and then when I look at it, I find that it's something that is very heartwarming to have in my life, and it actually inspired me to do more. And then I realized that, even if times are not good, I will do all I can, all I can, to actually still support them. So now what I am actually doing is that we are me and personally, and also my company are actually supporting one of Southeast Asia's uh, very prominent youth movement called Ascendance, where they go into schools to actually inspire students to aspire to be the best they can, or to be what they really want to be, and things like that, and not be fixed with that, there's a certain career that you need to have and things like that. If you want to be a YouTuber, go ahead and be a YouTuber and things. So we are looking into that in terms of that. Let's say you're a social enterprise and you want to give back to society. You haven't started. How do you actually start? Okay, for me, my transformation will be very it will be quite similar to my kind of transformation, because I started off being profit oriented instead of society oriented or community oriented. So now, how do you actually transform? The transformation, if you say the steps, there is no fixed step, because every individual, every business, every industry is different. Where is the limit to the operation expenses? Is it 1 to 2 years? And some individual may not be comfortable with just 2 years. Some would like 3 years, because when you look at the pandemic, some industries take longer time to actually come back. Okay, for me during the pandemic, it was still okay, because financially my company and I are pretty sound at that point of time, and we managed to ride the so-called crisis that happened during that time, where things were not things were going to be pretty slow at that time. Okay, so to transform, basically the steps that, if you haven't caught it just now, the steps that I'm talking about first is actually to start with your reserve for your company and your business. Because if you have that reserve, and you have that confidence that you have enough for your own company, you don't mind putting aside for the cause that you really like to support. Okay, it may not be the youth, it can be any environmental cause that you are looking at, any other social things that you want to support and things like that. Okay, and start from day one. Why I say that is because a lot of times people will say, I support when I have more money. But every time when you reach there, when I have more money, you'll be like, I wait until I have more money. So it never really kickstart in a way lah. So for me, it was started very naturally, or the increase came naturally after that is when I started putting in from day one. It's not a lot. I just put in like a few $100, to start off. Then later when my business grows, when I'm more stable, I have the reserve that I need, then say, okay, I can put a little bit more. But during pandemic, for me, we didn't actually cut off any of the funding. We still continue on to give, and but there are certain of our clients who have to actually cut back on the reserve because, oh sorry, not the reserve, cut back on the funding because they need the reserve for their business. So the idea of the social enterprise that my mentor actually gave, or the idea that he proposed to me and which I subscribe to, is this: you build your reserve, you are comfortable yourself, you have what you need. Any additional, you actually give back to society. But the reserve that we're talking about is not only operational, it has to come with the expansion plan, things like that, so that you don't feel the pinch when you know that you want money for your expansion. You say, oh no, I cannot because I need to give to this thing and things like that. That is not so nice after that. Okay, so giving back to society should be part of your life and part of the business life. So it is there. You may cut down, but not totally, to be staying true to what you mean by I'm a social enterprise. So it be flexible to vary it. Okay. But if let's say you want to start a social enterprise from start, how do you go about it? You don't, you already know that it's very important to support this cause and things like that. So first is that you have to stay really focused on it, because sometimes things that when things don't go well, you may feel like, is it this what I'm supposed to do? All these questions will come in. Okay. So what you need to do is really stay true to that, and then find partners who can support what you do. Okay. And this is what one of our client Ascendance did, is that they look for partners who are willing to not only give the funding but their time. Their partners actually go into the schools with them to actually give talks, to support them in inspiring the students and things like that. So if you can find this type of partnership, no matter what happens in the economy, no matter what happens in the business, they will still be there for you. So there will be sustainability there. Okay. Other than that, is one of the other important thing about business sustainability is that you need to give a voice to a voice back to the young, because in my business, those below 30 are the one running my business. Okay, it may be sound strange to some people, but for me it makes sense, because they are more in tune with what the society needs at this point of time. They are more innovative, they are more creative. So I give them the space and the time to actually work on the ideas that they want. It may not work out all the time, but it still give them the space and the confidence to go out there and try. And the person who's going to bring your business to the next level will be this group of people. So we need to build that environment for them to actually be able to do this. Okay. So in closing, let's look at a glance what I'm talking about, the model I'm talking about. Okay. So first is that you need to be at a frame of mind that you or your business wants to be a social enterprise, and you're willing to give that portion of a certain portion of profit for it. It can vary, but you must have that passion that you want to support this social cause. And then when you give more is when you look at your finance reserve meter. The more that you have, you already have enough for your business. The rest goes back to society. And for sustainability, I would say give voice and opportunity to the young. Allow them to try out innovative and creative ideas, and your business can stay relevant. I hope all of us can share our reserves and our knowledge and experience with the world, so that there will be more people out there who will be more inspired to actually give back. And with the shared resources, I believe that more things can happen in our life. The world can become a better place, the environment can be better, and the world can be a much better place to live in, and everyone will be, I guess, happy. And that is what we are looking forward for, right? So for this, I would like to end wishing you all the best in your entrepreneurial journey, and of course the social entrepreneurship that you're looking at. Hopefully we can come to a point where we are all 100% a social enterprise. Thank you very much and have a good day.